If you haven't heard of Sydney Run Club, you're either living under a rock or sleeping in past 6 a.m. Either way, wake up. This is Core and Commerce, the space where high performers treat ambition and well-being with equal importance. Today, we're talking to Emilio Khatis, Bondi cult leader, king of cardio, and most formally, founder of Sydney Run Club. With over 50,000 members, partnerships with global brands like JBL, Powerade, and Lululemon, and even some celebrity drop-in guests, Emilio has built a community most fitness founders could only dream of. Emilio, welcome to Core and Commerce.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
I am so excited to have you on today. You have been long on my wish list of people to come on this podcast because you have cultivated such an insane following and community around wellness, and that is really what we're all about. We're going to dive into all things community. But before we get started, I do want to acknowledge that today we are shooting this episode very closely to the recent tragedies in Bondi. And the Bondi community is both dear to my heart for Pilates Gang, to Emilio's heart with Sydney Run Club, which they run in Bondi every single week. So I just want to check in. How are you doing?
Very hard news to digest, but I mean, the support of everyone that live in Bondi and everyone in Sydney and Australia, as we've seen on social media and media outlets, has been incredible. So yeah, I think one day at a time and step by step, the whole Bondi community and Sydney as a whole will get back on its feet.
Yeah, I think now more than ever, this conversation is really topical because what you guys have cultivated is an incredible community and one that is highly engaged and highly supportive. I wanted to start by acknowledging that because I think it's very relevant right now to today's conversation. So to kick us off, I always love to go back into the time machine and oftentimes, our guests are these amazing, confident founders, visionaries, wellness gurus, but maybe weren't always that way growing up. So for you, I'm going to ask, were you always super into wellness?
Growing up, I was always loved sport, quite athletic. I'd be across multiple sports from swimming, running. Soccer was the core of my athleticism and did a bit of Oz tag, kickboxing. So I always loved sports and I was always quite competitive. So always, any sport I do, I'd want to ensure that I was the best at it or I gave it. If I wasn't the best, I'd always give it a good red hot crack.
Mm-hmm.
But in regards to wellness as a whole, when I was younger, right back to the early days, I was quite a chubby kid actually. Loved my food as I still do, but a bit of a character. I think the wellness side of things sort of really elevated later on, which we'll touch on down the track. Right?
Do you think that when you say you were kind of a character, do you think that was almost you built this persona around that maybe to cover up some like insecurities or something you might have been feeling
100%.
at that time?
Yeah, as most kids do, there's always underlying insecurities. But the funny thing was this question came up recently and someone asked me, what were you like as a kid? And that night I rang my parents and said, question, what was I like as a kid? And there was an awkward pause. They're like, special. I said, what do you mean by special? I think growing up, I was very observative. I'd always observe things prior to jumping in and I'd always analyze the situation. The older I got, the more the real confident Emilio came out. Loved people, loved socializing, and big heart, or always cared for others, which I still do. That's something you can't really get rid of, which is a good thing and can be a curse sometimes as well.
If you can pinpoint it, when do you think was a turning point for you where you kind of started to come out of your shell a little bit, become that people person, maybe growing in confidence?
Good question. For me, it has to go back to primary school. I used to love seeing people happy. I used to love making people laugh. So I always found myself thriving in environments where I was surrounded by other people and people that were happy. And if I could get a laugh out of someone, I'd feel happy in myself. So I think it goes right back to the primary school days when you are young and really you're at your purest. There's no external social media influence or influence as a whole. So yeah, me as a younger person, I was always happy and smiling. And
yes. I can personally attest because today we both showed up, we grabbed a coffee before this and we both put our gifts on the table. And it is so rare that someone matches my love language of just like generosity, gift giving and wanting to make the other person feel special. And we both are trading things and we're like, wait, I got this for you. I got this for you. But it's so true. Like you're so magnetic and charismatic and positive and it permeates from the second that you meet you, so I can personally attest.
I'm a Libra.
I'm a Libra as well.
Yeah?
That's probably
that
why we
makes
get
a lot
along
of sense.
so
That
well.
makes a lot of sense.
Okay, for those who don't know, Libras, we are the scale, we are the balancer, we are the mediator.
That's
we
right.
want to make everyone around us comfortable.
That's right.
And do you have siblings?
Yes.
Okay, and what order do you fall in?
All right. So I have a younger brother.
Okay.
I'm the oldest child, and my younger brother is 3 years younger than me, but we are extremely, extremely tight.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what's his personality like?
Marcus, shout out Marcus. We're very similar. He's a little bit more quieter than I am. He's a bit more cautious as well than I am. But yeah, we are very similar. I think fundamentally we both have the same characteristics. But I'm a bit more outgoing than he is. But we complement each other quite well.
So important to have a strong family unit, especially as you're building a business and trying to start something from scratch. Like having those people to fall back on, I think, is so essential.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Well, at the end of the day, they're your backbone. They're the ones that you're calling up if you need help, or they're the ones that are speaking to you on the darker days.
So as you were growing up, you're now starting to come out of your shell.
Yes.
We've already had those early pings of competitiveness, which is actually a trait that many of our founders share, by the way. So totally lean into that because you are not alone. But take me to kind of maybe where some of those early pings of entrepreneurship came into play. When did you first feel that pull towards maybe creating something of your own?
I've always had that drive. Let's take it right back. When I was in year 6, I remember I went and bought power bands off eBay, and I went to school and I was selling them for like $3. I was buying for $1 and selling for $3. And I was like 10, 11 years old. So I was really young. You go into like selling or trading football cards, and I've always had that. When I was really young, I'd set up stands and I'd sell little, as most young kids do when they're trying to get into business, I'd sell like little lemon juices and snacks on the side of the road, really small things, but the traits were always there from young. And then the older you got, the more you'd try things. And I mean, even I got into a stage where I was extremely young and I was selling shoes, buying and selling shoes and flipping whatever I could, as you do as a young. I mean, I hate the word entrepreneur, but yeah, when you're younger, you try to do whatever you can to give it a crack or try to get ahead, right?
What do you think it was that turned you on about that? Do you think it was you wanted to make money from a young age? Did you like the win? Did you like getting in front of customers? If you could kind of pinpoint it and distill it down.
It was never really about making money out of it. It was a satisfaction out of achieving something. It was the soft wins. Just proving to yourself that, hey, this works, or people do want this, and seeing the outcome. And from the power bands, right? If we look back, if you don't know what a power band is, it's a small little wristband that you put on. And as a kid, if you wear it, you were told that it makes you run faster, makes you achieve more. Again, I think it was a massive placebo of an item, but the notion of seeing people wearing it and they think they're running faster. And yeah, it was always about achieving something or proving to yourself that you could achieve any element that you endeavor down.
Going into maybe your early career, let's go back to maybe early 20s, that first kind of real full-time job. Can you walk us through what that looked like?
Yeah, so my first job, I was a junior project engineer at a civil company. So my background is construction management and property. So really early first year uni, I landed myself a project engineer role, and here I am, a 17, 18-year-old in the industry of engineers. And the reality is construction is cutthroat. It's a very competitive environment, and it's something that there is no room for error. So I learned a lot how to deal with people, contractors, resources, finances, and schedules at a really young age. And that had a really big influence on me down the track because, again, when you're in construction, there is no room for error.
What elements of that role do you think have translated today?
Fundamentally, that taught me how to deal and act with all sorts of personas, from a business owner to a project manager to a labourer. Like what I learned from there was no matter who you're speaking to or who's in front of you, everyone's equal. You can be speaking to a business owner, you can be speaking to a labourer or a project manager. You have to treat everyone equally because you don't know what is going to come out of a conversation or even interaction with that person. So that really taught me to appreciate the notion of all of us being human, and any skill set that we have in any role is beneficial. And every person you meet in life can always come back around in any element and impact our lives or our projects or our jobs as a whole.
It's so funny. I just finished business school, and I always say,
congratulations,
thank you.
by the way. I saw some cool content coming out of that.
Thank you.
Well done.
I always say to my friends and family when they ask what was the biggest thing that I extracted from that experience, and I always say it was outside of the classroom. It was the ability to work with diverse personalities, diverse cultures. We had, within our program of 50 students, we had 20 countries represented.
Wow.
Different religions, different races, different cultural norms. And I feel like I got a real crash course in that, people, both working with them as peers and also leadership element. And I realized like everything that we learned on the page, great. I'll translate that in some way. But the people learning element was
Massive.
so invaluable.
Yeah.
After that career, where do we go next?
Then an opportunity to take or to help market a fleet of vehicles. And this was more creating a solution to portion market some EV vehicles. Now, we're going back early 20s, so the EV scene wasn't as popular as it is now, and there was no sort of confidence in the car. So that for me was a massive growth point. I learned, or I had to understand who the target audience was, and I had a really small window of opportunity to push his fleet. And this is where my whole marketing element came in. And I mean, my big skill set from there was, yes, marketing, but also solution solving. So when there's a problem, there's always a means to an answer. And my biggest skill set was coming up with a solution to matter what the problem was.
And did it feel good to get back to that entrepreneurial spirit a bit?
100%. I mean, that sort of lit the fire inside me. Because the reality is, like any project you take on or any venture, you're doing everything yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the notion of being a business or being an entrepreneur, you're the accountant, you're the marketing guy, you're the sales guy, you're the compliance guy, you do everything. So that re-sparked that fire inside me. And that from there, it just kept turning. I mean, every project I got into after that, there's a certain skill set that I would delve into, and you'd sort of self-teach yourself that element of business, from sales to marketing to accounting. Every project was a notion of me enhancing a skill set. There was a lot of failures on the way. There was a lot of projects that didn't work. A lot of projects did work. But either way, the biggest value add was the skill set they took out of it.
Mm-hmm. I think there's kind of two types of people in the world. And one is people who get excited about that idea of the buck stops with you. You have to wear many hats. And that's like the most exciting, sexy thing in the entire world.
Yeah.
And then I think there's the majority of the people in the world who are like, no, I don't want that level of responsibility. I don't want this job that's outside of my scope. Sounds like that was a pretty formative experience to land on being in that first camp.
Oh, 100%. And that also goes right back to the first role that we discussed, being in construction and as a project manager. When the going gets tough in life or in business as a whole, there's always someone you report to. I mean, what I learned early in my career is as a project manager is you are that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can't deal with it, no one can. And that thought process or that ethos of being the one that has to deal with any problem or come up with a solution is what I carried on to any other project that I got into. So that was my foundation. If I can't work it out, then no one else can.
Totally. We talk to a lot of founders and a lot of people who are in that same boat of the buck stops with them. And we have a lot of listeners who are aspiring to do something in that realm, aspiring to start their own business. In that kind of scenario where, you know, something goes wrong and you just wish you could make a phone call and maybe bend someone's ear, do you have any pieces of advice for someone to just stay grounded and stay on track?
The reality is there's no right or wrong answer. The longer you take to act on a problem or come up with a solution, the harder it becomes. So my advice and for what I've learned from every project is you need to go with your gut and act, and the process of what is right or wrong will always work itself out. There's no right or wrong. It's a matter of just getting down and dirty and creating a resolution for the problem, whatever the problem may be.
We hear all the time, take messy action, just get started. But this is exactly this. And I think you've added a plus up to this a bit, which is take decision making, make it simple, and act quickly.
You've nailed it. That's spot on. Rather get the ball rolling as opposed to dwelling on it, because whatever the problem or whatever, even the notion of starting a business, everyone wants to start something and they want to make things so perfect, and they get so stuck into business plans and how they start manifesting what they want it to be or to look like. But the reality is it's 1 foot at a time, 1 day at a time. Start whatever it is that you want to achieve, and the process can always be enhanced. It's just getting started is the hardest part.
So many people suffer from analysis paralysis.
Oh, and that was my next thing. That's the biggest issue these days.
Totally. And
just back yourself and just
back
it.
yourself.
Yeah.
And I think there's one quote that I think of often, which is probably from an influencer, honestly, but it's like, first you're crazy, then you're cringe, then they ask how you did it.
You've nailed it.
And
Yeah.
I feel like I am trying to live my life that way, especially putting content out online. And there's so many times where I'm like, oh my God, I can't listen to the sound of my own voice. This is so cringy and awful. But then when you have a small win, or when you get a DM from someone being like, hey, you really made an impact on me today, that was a really positive experience, it all makes sense. And you're like, hey, I'm not doing this for the people from high school who are going to tease me and say this is so cringe. I'm doing it for the people who are actually benefiting from what I'm putting into the world.
Well said. Well said.
So if you're comfortable, I want to talk a little bit about a pretty pivotal health moment in your journey, and maybe how that shaped to ultimately what you're doing today.
Growing up, I was a very energetic kid, played a lot of sports, never smoked. Yeah, I was a very healthy kid growing up, right? But unfortunately, at a pretty young age, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. This was never in my family. Like, no one in my family had previously been diagnosed, or it wasn't in my family genes. So it's quite unexpected. And as you do as a young kid that receives some, I was 21 at the time. And as you do as any young kid that receives a traumatic diagnosis, you always start to think why or how's this possible, or where did this come from? So that was a hard thing to digest. But for me personally, I realized that we can't control what gets put in front of us. I mean, what we can control is the way that we react to certain things. So I found that the more I took this negative diagnosis and the more I dwelled on it, the more people around me started to get upset. And for me personally, seeing others around me upset would burn me. So very quickly into my diagnosis, I realized that, okay, well, I can't sit and feel sorry for myself, because there's always someone out there that's so much worse than we are. So I decided to get up on my high horse and just take it front on. And I mean, it wasn't an easy period. I spent 2-3 months in hospitals during COVID as well. So people couldn't see me, and you're forging relationships with people around you. And I mean, you'd get close to someone, and the next day they won't be there, you know? So that was always a hard thing to digest. But for me, that notion of going through that has significantly changed my perspective on life. It made me realize that the small things in life really matter. And sometimes as humans, we tend to get carried away on things, and we bog ourselves down, and we stress over small things where in 5 years' time, even in 5 weeks' time, they mean nothing. So the biggest thing I took out of that was appreciating the really small wins in life. I mean, being appreciative of your family and friends around you that generally care for you. And also when the going gets tough, sometimes it's a matter of scaling things back and just keeping it simple. And yeah, that was a massive turning point in my life. And strange as it can sound, that as a person, it was a massive growth point. I think that the trauma that I went through has definitely shaped the person I am today.
An incredible story, and an incredible perspective that you're able to, I mean, we've seen you're so positive, but that you're able to turn that experience on its head and say, what does this mean for me going forward? How does this shift my perspective in life? And how can I find points of growth and personal development through this experience? I'm curious, do you practice any sort of daily gratitude or, manifestations maybe as a result of this experience?
Well said. Good question as well. For me, the one thing I always lent on, and I'll just take it back to when I was diagnosed, is I was always grateful that it was me and not my friends or family around me that was diagnosed. Because, I mean, I'm pretty headstrong, and I knew that I could get out of this. I mean, the reality is again, let's go back to my early stage of life, competitive guy, love sport, always pushed to achieve whatever it was I was doing. I always want to be the best. Not the best, I'll just give it a red hot crack. So I knew that the way I saw that diagnosis was that this is just another injury. This is going to be a down point for a few months, and I'm going to get back on my high heel, and I'll be conquering whatever it is in life that I'm destined for. So with that mindset, I knew that I'd be okay at the end of it. And to answer your question, was manifestation a big thing? It definitely was. And I was very fortunate to have a lot of people around me that were supporting me along the way. And the one thing that I was a bit frustrated about was, again, I'm a very generous person. So prior to that diagnosis, I would always donate to charities, and I'd give out to so many amazing organizations. And here I am, early 20s, diagnosed, stage 4 cancer, not well, in hospital, and none of these charities reached out to me. Again, not that I was expecting anything, but I just wanted to chat. I just wanted to speak to someone who had gone through that, or speak to a organization that could assist. So what I realized when I got better was again, when you get sick, you go into a rabbit hole and you want to know what's the best health tips or what the best routine for anyone going through that is, or what the best diet is. So you go into a rabbit hole, and as a consequence, you become extremely overeducated. So then when I got better and I went through my few months or 6-7 months of chemo and I was in remission, I started a non-profit called the Fist Up organization, and we raised some money, and I ended up visiting a lot of young kids that were in hospital that were diagnosed from the ages of 13 to 25. I had like 10 kids I was mentoring that were going through chemotherapy, and they were diagnosed with cancer, and they also were quite vulnerable. And that for me was the most rewarding thing I'd ever done in life. Like, anyone that goes through any illness or any diagnosis, they're at the most vulnerable part of their life. So when you're supporting someone that's going through that in their life, it makes such a big impact. Even if it's a support or advice, or I used to take them cancer packs. So me and my beautiful partner Alexia, we'd make cancer packs where we'd put all the moisturizers or all the non-chemical healthcare products I was using when I got diagnosed into a pack with the money that we raised, and would give them out to kids that were diagnosed. And again, seeing the reaction and the support that was coming on the back of that, and how much impact we were making on kids and young adolescents' life was incredible. And that's probably got to be one of the most rewarding things that I've ever done, and I still continue to do.
You are incredibly formidable. It's just so impressive. You took something that could have been a real low point in your life and basically made it something that frames the way you live now and gives back to community. And we're going to get into kind of how that rears its head now in your day-to-day life. But just one last question. Do you think that keeping that positive mindset and keeping that mental strength was ultimately critical in healing and getting better?
Without a doubt. I mean, all healing and all strength starts in our mind. Like, we are a product of what is in our heads. Like, the reality is strength is created. Something I've always lived by is strength is created in our mind and supported by those around you. So fundamentally, your mental strength is where it all starts. Like, if you're headstrong, then as a consequence, you're going to get up, you're going to go for a walk, you're going to eat well, because your mind is telling your body you need to be mentally strong to overcome whatever situation or whatever trauma is in front of you. So when you put that out into the environment, your community will pick up on that, or your people around you will pick up on that, and they'll keep pushing you forward. And as a consequence, it's going to push themselves. Like, if you're going through a low point in your life and your friends and family around you are seeing that, well, they're always thinking, well, if he's got this low element of his life, or he's at a low point and he's pushing so hard, what's my excuse? And as a consequence, that becomes extremely, in a positive way, it becomes extremely contagious. Energy is the most important thing in life. We are a product of our environment at the end of the day.
Thank you so much for sharing that. That's because what this podcast is really all about is highly ambitious people balancing both physical and mental health and giving that equal importance in your life of any sort of success metric. And I think you've nailed it, that staying mentally well permeates to every other element of your life. So even if you're super into fitness and you're doing all the right things and you're working out every single day, if you're not mentally taking care of yourself, doing daily wellness practices, you're just as well not, particularly healthy. So I really appreciate you sharing that. Okay, we're going to jump into the juicy bits now. So we've shared Emilio is one of the 5 co-founders of the Sydney Run Club, which has amassed over 50,000 members. What are we at today?
We're at 55,000 members as of this morning. So.
Can you take us back to 2023, where this all began?
It started as an extremely humble group of 5 friends that were running from Ramsgate to Brighton and Bondi to Bronte back. At this point, we were all 5 friends, loved running, loved staying fit and healthy. We had no intentions for this to be a movement as it is today, but our intention was always pure. Our intention was always to run together and surround ourselves with people that also wanted to run, and as a consequence, keep each other sort of accountable. So, we were running this track for a year or two, and we'd always get people reach out to us and they'd ask, "Hey, when are you guys running next? are you running on Wednesday? Are you running on Friday? So we thought we'd make a social media page, a nice little humble page called the Sydney Run Club that had a donut emoji, wearing little Alpha Fly running shoes.
Wait, why a donut?
It was it was a big pink donut that had Nike running shoes on it. And the idea behind it was if a donut can run, then anyone can run.
I love it. Wait, so you've since done away with that logo? Or?
Yeah, no, we've moved away from that donut, that beautiful pink donut. But yeah, again, very humble beginnings. And we, again, from making that page, the 5 became 6 within a week, and then 6 became 12, and 12 became 20. And before we knew it, 3 months in, we had 150 people running out of a car park in Ramsgate.
And what do you think they were turning up for at that time?
Good question. For me, I think it's the notion of keeping each other accountable, turning up to an environment where rain, hail or shine, whether you come or not, or whether you feel like coming, you're rocking up and there's other people that also want to run, and there's a whole community of people that are going to push you to run as far as you can, as fast as you can. It was a big social element. I mean, this day and age, everyone's so stuck behind their phone, and everyone's social life is via text messages or Instagram or social media, which is amazing that we have this tool where we can interact, but there's not enough genuine connection. And this is the gap that we wanted to fill. We wanted to be fit and active and at the same time have a social element to it. And that was always our ethos, to be socially active and interact with people, like-minded people.
It's so important because I also feel that there's limited ways to really meet people in third space. It's usually a bar or a night out, and that doesn't always form the healthiest connections, both friendships, romantic, all the things, which is why I think run clubs have kind of blown up in terms of this. Is Run Club the new dating app? What do you say to that question?
Look, it's the easiest way to meet a like-minded person. You're turning up to a social movement with people that also like to stay fit and healthy. And if that is you and you do like to be fit and healthy and socialize, well, you're going to be another person, male, female, at this common space. So is it the new dating app? I wouldn't say it's the new dating app, but I'd say that it's a great way to meet someone that is similar to yourself.
For someone who is never been to a run club before, myself included, I do Pilates.
For now. Yes.
He's trying to convince me. What is the experience like? The first day you roll up to a run club, I see so much on social media that people are like, I'm totally keen, but I'm totally intimidated.
Yes.
Especially if you see 50,000 people running through Bondi. So what is the experience like for someone? Day one, they show up, let's say they show up alone because they're brave and they're a badass. What does that look like, and how do they start to kind of connect with other community members?
Well, that is exactly what we want. We want people to turn up on their own at your most vulnerable, and we want you to experience the element of running and being out and about. So for us, we push people to turn up on their own because there is a large amount of people that are there doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. Most people are turning up to meet friends or to meet someone that also enjoys being healthy and fit. So what it looks like is, a bit of a rundown of the morning is you're turning up to a positive environment where there's music playing. It's 5:30 in the morning, so not many people are going to get up at 5:30 in the morning. So if you're up at 5:30, the hardest part of your morning is you've already won.
You showed up.
You've showed up.
Showing
that
up
is always
the battle.
That is the hardest part. So the fact that you're there, that's a massive tick of approval.
Yeah.
And everyone else that is there is also getting up that early. So, subconsciously, you're already ahead. You've already won the morning and the day as a whole. But yeah, we tend to meet at 5:30, 5:45. It's about 15 minutes of music playing, socializing. We pull everyone in. We ask people who is here for the first time. They put their hands up. Everyone gets a look of each other. We run a small warm-up. And at the end, we encourage people to say hi to someone they haven't met before or introduce themselves to at least one person. And that just breaks down that social barrier. Like most communities or run clubs, you're turning up and you're running and you get back to the end and they're very cliquey. With us, we encourage people to introduce themselves. We encourage them to say hi to someone new today. And it's had a massive impact. We've had so many social groups form and we've had so many relationships that have come out of the run club, which for me is the most, and for all of the 5 of us, it's the most rewarding thing.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like it's a really low ego environment.
There's no ego.
Which I think is really critical. When you're trying to cultivate a group of people, you really need to break down some of those barriers and be like, hey, we are all here for the same thing.
That's
Talk
right.
to each other.
And the reality is running and our run community, there's no discrimination, whether you're a runner, a walker, a jogger, Pilates girl, whatever you are, everyone is welcome. And it's not, I know the notion is a run club or the Sydney Run Club, but for us, you can walk, you can run, you can jog, you can come have a coffee, just getting into that environment where so many people are down there and they are sharing a conversation at that time in the morning or a coffee. That is the most important part. You're just getting yourself down there.
So let's go back to those first 3 months.
Yes.
You've got kind of over 100 people showing up, which is insane, probably more than you expected at that time. Now, 2 years later, you have 55,000 people showing up for your runs. How did you grow in that time?
It's not all roses. There were mornings in Bondi where there was one morning that we always reflect on where two of the other co-founders, Jonathan and Yanni, turned up to a wet morning in Bondi. I think it was August, and 5:45 turned up, and it was just the two of them. So they're sitting here and the week before there was a good 30, 40 people, but it's a rainy day in Bondi. It's 5:45, and the two of them are sitting there thinking, okay, well, what's next? Actually, that story is good because I think a girl from UK turned up. She's like, hey, I flew in from the UK and I saw your videos. Are we running today? And the boy said, yeah, I mean, there's 3 of us.
Yeah.
We'll give it a crack. So yeah, it wasn't all, I mean, not every week was as chaotic as it is this day and age. But for us, what we found really elevate our growth was to giving the community what they want. We were putting on free events for everyone, whether it was music events or cafe parties or yoga sessions to gym sessions. We always tried to diversify our mornings and give the community what they want, which is to be fit and to be active and to try something new.
I love that you shared the day that 2 people
There was 3,
turned up.
2 founders and 1 runner. And that's the reality. Like, not everything is going to be as people think they're going to roll it. Things will always, there's always positive and negatives in every story and every journey. And there's been a lot of negatives. But again, like any business, you grow and you learn and you keep pushing forward and you stay consistent.
But I think it's a really important thing to highlight because, if you're someone who is in an area that's wanting for a run club or wanting for community, you might look at Sydney Run Club and be like, oh my God, that is so out of scope. They are too big. I don't know how they did it. I don't know where to start. So what I'm hearing is the importance is 1, get scrappy, and 2, be freaking consistent.
Yes.
And even if you have 1 girl from the UK showing up, it is essential that you just keep your head down and keep up with that community.
You've nailed it. We've been running now for 2.5 years, and rain, hail, shine, festive season, holidays, we're there twice a week running. So consistency is the most important element of growing a community and any business as a whole. And yeah, like I said, there are low points and there are high points. But for us, we always had the foundation of growing a community and giving back and creating a space that is comfortable for everyone and a space where anyone and everyone is welcome. And the more we did that, the more we realized that, hey, this is having a bigger impact on people than we think. So yeah, it's extremely rewarding when your foundation of what you're building is a community, and it is having such a positive impact on people's lives. So for us, that was always what got us out of bed in the morning.
Were there ever any moments of doubt? Like, let's say the day that nobody turned up, it's a rainy day. Were there ever any moments that you guys as co-founders said, we need to pull the plug? We can't, figure out a way forward. It's been a good run. Figure of speech. It's been a good run, but we're good.
So like I said, the intentions were as pure. We just wanted to build a community. So there was never doubt. Whether it was the 5 of us there or 500 of us, we were always running. So for us, it was an element of what we were doing, we loved and we enjoyed. And people feeding off the back of that is what essentially we saw a lot of growth in. So yeah, rain, hail, shine, 500, we were always down there running. We backed it. So.
I think the intent shines through, and there's so many wellness communities and so many third spaces that claim to promote community, but at the end of the day, it's the intent behind the action that makes the difference. And I think that your runners can see that and feel that when they come and experience it themselves.
Thank you.
We're going to jump into some of the business side of this, because I said to you earlier, if you could bottle the level of community you've created and the loyalty and the engagement, every business would be lining up behind a red rope to buy it. But you can't. You created it authentically. You created it organically. We've talked about how, other runners who come for the first time, they feel it in their bones. You can't really, package that and sell it. So you guys have started bringing it to brand partners. So can you share a little bit about some of the brand collaborations that you've had this year and how you've thought about, monetization of once you have this amazing community, how do you grow it and make it into what I think has potential to be a global brand?
Reality is you can't purchase a community. No global brand can buy a community. So for us, it was about aligning ourselves with partners that fit our ethos and have the same belief in what we believe in. So we get partners that businesses that reach out all the time to collaborate with us. But for us, it was always about what brand or what business is going to further elevate our community. So obviously our primary partner is Powerade, which we adore, and we have such a great working relationship with them. But it's very organic. We're not going out of our way we're not doing anything that was not in line of what we do on a daily basis. So that it was just such an organic fit.
What was the very first day that you guys took this amazing community and made $1 from it?
Apparel. People love the apparel. Unfortunately, we haven't pushed that as much as we'd like to, but any drop that we do, we're selling out in an hour or two. So next year, our biggest push is getting more apparel out there and pushing it out. I mean, I think 30-40% of our orders were going, to the US and the UK. So
wow.
We're finding that our reach is quite enormous, to say the least. So,
well, I think coming from my marketing brain, it makes total sense because when you wear merch, you wear it to signal something about yourself. And it signals a sense of belonging, right? But it also signals to the rest of the world what you stand for. So if you're at the grocery store in a City Run Club sweater, right? It's a conversation piece, but it also signifies you care about your health, your wellness, your mental health. All of the community that you've curated shines through when you wear a piece of merchandise that kind of signals that to the rest of the world.
Well said. Well said.
Okay, I want to ask a fun one. So when I first moved to Sydney, I remember seeing just this mob on social media of people tagging John Summit down in Bondi.
Yes.
For those who don't know, John Summit is a mega global up-and-coming DJ. And one day, and you're going to tell us how, but one day he turned up to Sydney Run Club, ran with your community. How did that happen?
It was a very well-curated media stunt. I used to run nightclubs as well. So I had 2 years where I was in the nightclub industry. And through that, I have a really good relationship with good friends of ours at Bondi Alliance. And a friend of mine gave me a call and said, hey, we have John Summit coming to Sydney and we should do a media stunt where he comes down and he runs. But we can't put too much detail out there. We have to slowly drip feed the audience. Otherwise, we're going to get 10,000 people down at Bondi. So very organically, like you said, we curated a piece where we mentioned we'll be doing a John Summit inspired run.
Inspired.
Yes,
keyword
John
inspired.
Summit inspired run. We did not mention that he was coming down to run with us. We put the word inspired in there. Also noting that he had sold out 2 concerts that weekend. So we knew the hype and the demand was there and we knew what a mega star he is. Like, he's incredible. His music is incredible. He's arguably one of the biggest DJs in the world. So we knew that we have to approach this in a really sensible manner. Tag John Summit to see if we can get him down there. Obviously, it was already organised. He was coming down. That was all pre-curated, but that started this online sort of stampede where everyone was tagging John Summit and the word was getting out there that John Summit may be coming down. So people were rocking up to run in hope they'd see John Summit.
And thinking that they could make an impact. Like if they're tagging John Summit, they're pushing it to his
That's
feet.
right.
That
That's
is
right.
so genius from a content marketing perspective, is getting your community involved and being like, hey guys, if enough people tag him, we can get him down here. Meanwhile, the business brains at work have already arranged it.
It was all arranged. And the morning was incredible. He's an absolute athlete. We ran from Bondi to Bronte and I think he finished in the top 3-4 people as well.
There are a lot of celebrities who are big into running. I'm sure you have a short list of them, but who are you manifesting as the golden runner to come and join you guys one day?
I mean, how big should I go? Are we
As
talking like
big as
end goal? Like,
I am a manifester, so put like if you want the King of England, you put it out there.
King of England. We'll take the King of England.
Charles,
are you coming down? I'm calling you out. Yeah, look, that's a hard one. There's so many incredible people that are into running these days that it's hard to put our name on just one. But I mean, I did hear that Drake is taking up running. Don't know if he is, but if we're talking big names, that would be incredible.
Ed Sheeran's recently gotten into Pilates.
I heard
he's on my manifestation board of coming to a pop-up Pilates event.
Should we try like chasing?
Should we do a collab?
Do you want to?
Ed Sheeran, if you want to get into a little cardio meets Pilates, we're
Bondi, 5:30, run, then Pilates. We're calling you
maybe
out.
8 a.m. So
all right, 8 a.m.
We are going to do some hot takes. We have a running expert in the building, so we are going to ask you some quick fire.
Ooh,
are you ready?
Let's go.
All right. Best running shoe.
My opinion, Asics Blasts.
Okay.
Yes.
Why?
For me, there's a lot of cushion there and there's no carbon fiber plate. I have had multiple injuries. I snapped my ankle 2-3 years ago, and as a consequence, I can't run in carbon plated shoes.
Okay.
So shout out to Yanni, one of the other co-founders. We've gone through a full educational course and we've steered down the path of non-carbon plated shoes, and for me the Super Blast is the most superior shoe. Okay,
we'll take your word for it. Best way to fuel on a longer distance run, so I'm talking like gels, protein bars. What is the ultimate hack?
It depends how far you're running, but if you're doing a marathon, you want a pre-carb the night before. But on long runs, everyone's using gels this day and age. So get your carbs up whilst you're running. Some people have gels with caffeine that helps you get through that marathon run or that half marathon. But it's all in your fueling the night before. But with that being said, it's all trial and error.
Best running song, what gets you hyped?
You're going to think I'm crazy, but I don't run with music.
Well, that's because you run while listening to Core and Commerce, the podcast.
How did you know? Yes, you've nailed it. No, I tend to, I find that if you distract yourself whilst running through a conversation with others, that helps. If I were to listen to music whilst running, really strange, I have a really cool acoustic album that I always touch on. Strange, I know. But
I was expecting club beats, Kylie Minogue meets Drake mashup. This is very unexpected.
I'm just going through my acoustic era.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's in his Eras tour. We love. What is the most overhyped trend in running right now?
Stereotypically, people would say matcha, but I love matcha. So
matcha's taking a lot of heat on this podcast, I have to say.
Is it? Yeah,
it is.
I'm a big fan. I love the whole matcha movement.
What time of day are we getting our matchas?
Post-run.
Post-run. First thing in the morning.
Nice and early. I have this matcha mix that I use and I curate.
Has there ever been a love match at Sydney Run Club?
Plenty. There's been a lot of great relationships that have come out of Sydney Run Club.
This episode's going to come out in the new year.
Amazing.
So I think it's a perfect time to ask for someone who said 2026 is my running and wellness and fitness era. What is a good piece of advice to get started, feel a little bit less intimidated, and just get after it?
Running is such a rewarding sport. Every single run that you do, it just compounds. So every run you're just plugging away your fitness level. So the more runs you do, the fitter you become. So the best advice I can give is get started, put your running shoes on, start the process, and put yourself in a position where you are running and you're getting your body moving, because you're going to see results really quickly.
I love it.
And set a goal. Marathon, half marathon, 10K, set goals and keep conquering them. Smashing them off.
That's one thing that I do love about running is that there's really tangible, trackable goals. Like for me, coming from the Pilates world, there's not, short of getting a certification, there aren't as many tangible things. I think you can kind of create your own parameters. But I think for someone who said 2026 is their fitness year, running is actually a really, really nice way to tangibly track your progress.
It really is. It really is.
Do you think that people enjoy posting on Strava, or do you think it's just a flex?
If you're a quick runner, it's a huge flex. It's who can outdo one another in their 5K sprints. But I think most people post on Strava so they can see how they're progressing over the weeks, months, years. But there is a massive flex element. Who gets the most kudos and comments and stuff. So that's a big notion of it as well.
Okay, would you judge someone if you met them and looked at their Strava and their times were not
absolutely
so good?
No, of course not. No, I don't even look at people's times on Strava. I just use it to to keep track of how quick I'm running or how slow I'm running. I'm not a quick runner at all. So
it makes me feel better about joining the running community, that people aren't stalking my Strava, being like, she's out, she's in group 2.
There's really great support programs out there, like the Stravas of the world, where you can run and you can track how far you've run and how quick you've run, and every week you just keep yourself accountable. So there's so much infrastructure out there for people to lean on whilst running, or if they are taking up running, which is incredible.
Reflecting on this journey, and you've had so many different businesses that you've touched, and now I think this one brings together a lot of those different elements. What is one piece of advice you would give to someone who's really aspiring to get started as a founder, whether it's in wellness, whether it's in a completely different industry? What is something you would leave them with?
It's easier to plug business into hype than create hype around business. So when you have a community or you have a core service or product that people want to be around, or they want to have, you organically create a community movement. And when you have a community, you can plug any business into it. So for us, we have a really strong community and the hype is there. And for us, it's now about plugging business into that hype. So the biggest draw card from that is just get yourself started, make sure your intentions are pure, keep growing on your idea, concept, or product. And as a consequence, people are going to want to be around you or your product or your service, and that organically will sell itself. And also the notion of social media, like don't be scared to post and to share your story or share the element of what you're growing, because the reach and the immensity of how powerful social media is, if it's used the right way, is absolutely incredible. It's huge. Gone are the days where you're buying a shop front for your foot traffic. Like this day and age, the reach you can get off being on social media and having a community to push that, it shouldn't be slept on at all.
That is incredible advice. Is there anything that you would have done differently now in the last 2 years of this business?
I mean, there's always key learning points. And if something wasn't reflected, if something wasn't done right, it's nothing that we'd change. It's something that you learn for your next venture or your next campaign that you drop. So there's nothing that we would change. But again, along the way, there's a lot of key learning points, and whatever you learn or whatever skill set that you grow through a campaign or a project or a business, it's always enhancing your skill set for the next project or the next drop or the next business that you launch. So nothing that you should never look back in hindsight. Hindsight is a dangerous thing sometimes. So it's always just take whatever you can, take the positives out of every situation, any person you meet, any venture you go into, and just take certain things out of it that you liked and put it into the next thing that you do.
Content is really king for your business specifically. Do you have any pieces of advice for getting started in content creation? Maybe just some things you've learned along the way.
There's no right or wrong. Just start posting. And that's something that, shout out to Joshy, another co-founder. He's done a really good job when it comes to content. Like, we just put out as much as we can. And for us, we're very authentic. Like, what we've realized as well is spending all this money on gear is incredible. And I mean, most social media agencies and media companies are incredible and have some great gear. But for us as a community, it's all about being relatable. So we've spent money on incredible videos and incredible campaigns, but people want to watch a video and feel inspired and relate to that video. So being authentic and pure and showing yourself through the content or your business is key. People want to relate to whatever it is you're doing. So just, start posting and don't be scared to put yourself into whatever it is that you're doing.
We talked a bit before this too about if it gets too cinematic and too polished, you're kind of getting away from yourself. And I think we talked about, Aloe kind of started with supermodels and super high end, that now if they were to transition into being a brand for the everyday person, it would feel inauthentic. So I love that the way that you guys have grown this content arc is it's beautiful, and you're the content is getting better and you're kitted out with all of the fresh gear, but you're still keeping true to people high-fiving each other on runs, chatting with each other, and it's not this like runner's intensity type of brand point of view.
Well said. And see, that's us. Like, when we started this, there was no business or no run club that we looked at and said we want to be like them. We've sort of created or made our own path. So there was never a right or wrong. It's just what worked. And also all this high-fiving that you see, that's authentically us. Like, we like and we engage with our community. And going back to what the question you asked previously is, what's the experience like? As as founders, the five of us try and get out there and speak to as many people as we can, because the notion is people want to feel like they belong to an environment, and belonging is key in our community. And that's the environment we want to put out there. Everyone belongs, no matter how old you are, young you are, how fast you can run, walk, jog, whatever it is, everyone belongs. And keeping that authentic sense of community is at the forefront. And the way that we portray that, there's no right or wrong. It's whatever works for us. And yeah, we have a few little points that we like to leverage. And I mean, we tend to put carousels up and we try to feature as many people as we can, because people want to feel like they're part of a community. And
yeah, they probably get so excited if they see themselves featured.
Well, that's right. And that's what it's about, just engaging as many people as we can on a weekly basis.
What is in store in 2026 for Sydney Run Club?
We have a lot of cool things coming. We don't want to give too much away, but
more collabs, more content, more events.
Heaps of events, a lot of incredible collabs, cool products coming out. We're building an app as well, which is incredible. And yeah, we're strengthening the current partnerships that we have. Again, we don't want to just bring anyone on. They have to align with our goals, our visions, and our ethos. So the ones that we have, we're very blessed to be partnered with your Powerades, JBLs, a lot of incredible cafes that are in our precinct, a lot of work with ASIC and on. So the partners that we are with, we want to sort of enhance that relationship. And there are one or two more that we will bring on. But again, it's very organic. It's got to make sense, and it's got to fit our business ethos and our community as a whole.
On this day next year, let's manifest. Where are you, and where is Sydney Run Club?
We will still be running in Bondi. Nothing will change. But as for our reach, we just want to reach and keep growing the audience and the community that we have. For us, we're very grateful to have so many amazing people in our community and network with some incredible humans. And we just want to keep growing that and keep it very authentic and ensure that, again, our beliefs and what we run for and believe does not change. We'd love to keep growing what we're doing and growing our community. And yeah, let's see how big we can scale this thing.
Do you think you'll ever take it on the road?
We will be on the road next year, yes.
You heard it here.
We don't want to give too much about, but yes, the plan is to be on the road next year.
Hot take.
Yes.
Emilio, thank you so much for coming on Core and Conference.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I look forward to seeing you next Friday at the Run Club. You're locked in.
Okay.